Woo! Oh, I'm just joking. Hola! No habla español. Hey, Eargasm, it's me, your guy from the pie in the sky. From the internet, I mean. I'm here with the Eargasm guys, and we're having fun. You're not here. Ha ha ha. We are here, and you're not here. You should feel really jealous. I'm just joking. We're having a really bad time. You should go home now. But thank you guys for tuning in, or whatever you're doing right now. You see, I'm promoting you guys so well with this t-shirt right now. I'm just joking. Okay, hey! And adios. Adios, amigo. I think that Spain is very particular about their music and what they listen to. I think they're very assertive. I think they know what they like and are very comfortable with that. So I'm thinking like dance music in Spain has been kind of now catching on, like recently. So I really have like I'm a little scared, you know. I'm scared that they won't like it or something like that, maybe a little bit. But I'm also confident that the country needs to have the same joys as the rest of the dance cultures that's out there, that's been prominent for a long time, like Belgium and Holland and France and all these countries, have a lot of festivals and electronic music, and it's taking off really badly right now. So I really think that if this works out, I'll come back and I'll do more, and hopefully they'll want to come, and more people, all this kind of stuff, So tonight is about, it's more about me proving me than my expectations, really. That's how I see it. Like, I'm here. If they don't like me, like, go back home, I guess, with my tail between my legs. But my job's to do my best job and please the crowd, and if they don't like it, I have to go back in the thinking box, I think. The last album I made, I've been going so much back and forth between ideas. I want to do this and that, and to me, music is about two things, really. It's about either it's very serious or it's fun. That's how I see music, and I like it when it's both. But lately, I've been being a bit pretty unbalanced on having the mixture of fun and seriousness in the same songs and the same album. So with the album I released called Zion last year, it was very serious. It was like, it lacked a lot of fun and naivety, and it lacked a lot of impulse and like childishness. It was very serious and it was dark, so I needed to do something really fun and happy. So I wanted to make something like really that I would feel happy when I listened to, or uplifted or get energy from. And So I really focus on making something really more happy and fun. And it doesn't really have as much of a theme as the other albums I've made either. It's more like a birthday party. Like, I know you got so the cover too. It just looks like balloons, you know, that a kid gets for his birthday party, you know. So everything looks very cartoony and fun and stupid, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's very fun. That's it. That was what I was thinking, really. So there's no like master plan of changing the world or anything with that thing. It's just I needed to get it out. When I take them all in the bag and put them in the water and I watch them drown slowly, like that's my favorite genre. When I put all the genres in a bag and drown them, because I don't like genres at all. I hate them. I never make glitch hop. I don't like dubstep. I don't listen to that shit. I don't like drum and bass. I think it's all very all those genres are run by people who are very purist. They're very into keeping it sounding like it is, and I'm all about changing whatever is to something new and fun. So those people don't like me. Purists don't like Savant at all. They don't like me because, like, if I make techno, it's mixed with something weird like trance or hip hop or something like that, and they can't deal with that. So that's why I don't feel comfortable in any genre, because they don't feel comfortable with me. Is basically what's going on. So I'm actually just raping all the genres. I'm just, hey, I know you like that, but let me, you know? So I think that the one I like doing the most is the thing where you don't know which one you're doing. You know, that's when I feel I don't know what I'm doing. That's the favorite genre. You know, that's when I'm going like, hey, I've never heard this before. Because I see myself more of a scientist than a performer. Because performers, they just replicate or repeat whatever everyone else has been doing. Like, if you do piano, you've learned by learning other people's music. I didn't do that. I started making my own music right away. You know, I didn't study other people first. I just went like, oh, what happens if I do this and that? So when I make music, I'm always like, what happens if I do this? Blah, 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 blah. So I never sit down and go like, oh, this should totally be like, and like, and then, and then, I never sit and think things like that. I always try, how can I fuck this up as much as possible? But sometimes I try really hard to be a chameleon too. Like, I want to make a big room track that's so good that even fucking, you know, the big DJs want to play it, you know? That's just to, like, show people I'm not just a hipster with what I do, or I'm not trying just to provoke people. I really respect all the genres. I just don't want to be a purist myself. So that's a long answer to a short question.
Right here, that's right, yeah. Right here, that's right, yeah. Right here, that's right. Shell shock. So everybody that's ready to roll. Shell shock. So everybody that's ready to roll. That's right. Shell shock. That's right. So everybody that's ready to roll. That's right. Shell shock. That's right. So everybody that's ready to roll.
That's beautiful. My grandfather owned a video store in the 80s, so he had the Nintendo when it came out. So when I was 2 years old, I had a Nintendo, and I started playing Donkey Kong, Ice Climber, Tanks. Well, no, it's not called Tanks, is it? It's called
Combat.
Combat something. That is not. Is it? Combat. Oh no, I'm talking about Nintendo. Anyway, so all these games, Popeye, all these cheesy 80s shitty games, and it was really like monotone. This was very monotone and very like simple. Music was boring, but then you had Mario, you know, which has a lot of music, you know. You know, they had all these songs that you could sing and memorize, and it was catchy. So I think that was the first game, Mario for Nintendo was the first game that really was like, wow, melody, you know, that's interesting. Because the other games were like, That was music in a Nintendo game. And you go like, oh my god, this hurts. Oh. And some games were like, you know, Ninja Gaiden or something like that, you know, super simple and it was boring and you went like, ouch, ouch, ouch. So I never liked that sound. I was always like, you know, a little bit like, oh, that's too sharp, because I'm very sensitive in my ears, so I can't really listen to that sharp. I never listen to 8-bit music, that's for the record. I don't sit and listen to Nintendo music at home at all. But when the Super Nintendo came, ba-ching! That's when I really started getting into it, because everything was cool. Everything had a lot of melody and drum sounds, and it was sounded almost real, you know? So that was like, I got so hooked on that shit, that when I started making music myself, my whole goal was to try to be a composer for video games myself, right? But that's a hard profession to get into. It's a lot of people who work in there as professionals. I'm a kid, you know, how do you get into that? So it's all about networking and shit like that. So I really, all these Nintendo or game references I do in my music is just me wanting to, like, the lost years I never had in game development, I guess. Like, I couldn't make a game, so I had to just pretend I made one, I guess. But I did make a game, though. It's called the Savant Ascent. But it didn't have Nintendo music though. When I was a kid, my parents had a organ, like a Yamaha organ, but none of them could play it. So I just punched it like a donkey almost. Like I just went crazy with it. There was a drum machine on it, like. So I had a lot of fun, like fucking around with. It was almost like a computer because it had like different sounds. You could record what you did, and there was a drum machine. You could take away different drum parts, so you could only have the hi-hat. Then you could get the drums in. So there was a lot of different stuff, and it also had like when you there was 2 lines of keys, right? You could play up here and down here. If you play down here, you hold in. It had a bass line and a drum on it, so you could just play a song, you know. You know, you could make music with the whole instrument. So I didn't really get into like violins or flutes or anything like that. I never cared about that shit until recently when I grew up and I wanted to learn everything. But when I was a kid, it was all about that machine, you know. Everything was done with one thing. So I was not interested in like, oh, guitars or drums. Everything was done with one thing to me. So I was really into that producer mentality from very early age. Like, I just want a computer so I can sit and make music on it, you know. But when I started listening to classical music when I got older, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. All these instruments sound so cool and warm and rich and powerful. And it gives you that whoa sometimes, you know. So, and it's really expensive to get an orchestra to play for you, you know. It costs hundreds of thousands to get a full album recorded. So I just try to find plugins on the computer and samples to like sound it like that. So I really got to explore a lot of these classical instruments, like something called the cembalo or harpsichord, which is like that very plinky instrument where it sounds like a harp, but very sharp piano, like like a knife. Whoosh. So it's I like the sound of it because it's very clean. You can hear it through music. If you have a dubstep or a really hard like track, if you use some of those instruments, they go through that hardness so well because it's organic and it's different. Because all electronic music, everything's electronic, right? So, but if you put something real on top of electronic music, it shines through, like vocals, for instance, or guitar, or violin, or anything real, a banjo, for fuck's sake, anything works. But all those instruments I wanted to put in electronic music because, first of all, kids don't know what they are anymore. They're dying, like, because everyone just wants to be a DJ, so nobody cares about classical music anymore. So tradition is dying. So that's also part of why I like them so much, and I want to portray them because I want people to know and remember what they were and how they were used, you know, a little bit. I'm not a professional in classical at all. I'm just playing around, but I like talking about the fuck in my brain. Yeah, I have a fuck in the brain. So it affects my life probably a lot. But since I'm me, I'm not anybody else. I can't really see it from anybody else's perspective. I only have my perspective. So, but people tell me I'm grumpy a lot. I'm an asshole and all that stuff. You know, I have bad days a lot. So I'm very emotional. That's it. I feel a lot of sadness and happiness at the same time. It's very crazy. But how it affects my abilities in music is that I have a very pattern. My brain is very obsessed with patterns and fractals. So when I see a pattern, that pattern, I'm like, you know what a pattern is? Like the system of geometry, for instance, or a system of sounds, or system of any patterns can come in any shape or form. The way you're standing there's a pattern. The way this hotel is built is a pattern. Everything's a pattern. It's repetitive. It's like copy, and that's a pattern. And I'm very good at recognizing patterns, and like more than other people who like I have something called Asperger's syndrome, and I've been with a lot of people with Asperger's syndrome, and I've never met anyone who can think that far in patterns as I do. Like I think a lot in like very deep, like in there. So I try to see things in music before I sit down and make music. I can understand what is going to happen, and I know what it's going to feel like in the end. And that's like I'm actually driving the car before I'm in the car. It's weird to explain how that feels, but I know what the song is going to do to my body before I make it. So when I'm sitting down and opening my music stuff and thinking about I'm gonna make a song, I know what that music's supposed to feel like before I do it. I don't know what it's gonna sound like. I know what it's gonna feel like, and that emotional connection to the memory and intelligence is the weird part here. It's called synesthesia, where I can sense stuff that I'm not supposed to sense. I'm feeling stuff I'm not supposed to feel. So I feel music. It's like a human being to me. I understand it. I understand its purpose. I understand why it's here for us. I understand how to manipulate it, and I don't understand everything about it. I'm still digging in it, but I understand everything about its purpose here and why we love it so much. So that is what the gift does for me. But of course, what it doesn't do for me is make me happy or work with other people. Or I can't really be social. It's very hard for me. I have to smoke a lot of weed to get to that level where I can be like comfortable and talk to people. And there's a lot of like I'm weird. Like I'm yeah. There's a lot of pain and shit. But you know that's all good and stuff. Like, hey, pain is cool. But without pain, you can't see the truth. Is what I like to see. When you see pain, you see truth. Because pain is what makes you want to live. And when you already have a lot of joy, there's not really much to appreciate, not much to go for. You already have everything, so why do anything? So you get lazy. So when you don't have anything and you're born in pain and everything you feel and see is pain and shit and you just want to create a beautiful world that you can live in and everything's beautiful, but it doesn't exist until you make it. So that's my struggle. So that's why I can't stop making music either, because you can't make that world unless everyone tunes into it and goes like, wow, you're really right. So that's what I'm trying to do. I want everyone to listen. So I don't even know what I'm talking about here.
You're good.
We're good.
This is great.
Okay, next question. By what I just explained to you, but it's hard to explain. But I think fast when I do music.
You can talk about strategy, like some of that stuff. I mean, that's...
Yeah. 12 albums in such a short time. It's very... it's because I could have made one album a year if I wanted to, you know? And I'm doing that kind of now. I'm just taking a lot of time making one piece of music because I want to focus on detail, perfection here and there, you know? So... because now I'm in the spotlight. People are looking at me. People like Rob Swire and Deadmau5 and all these people are looking at me going like, oh, okay, who are you, you know? So I have to be really good now. I can't just, I have to be like, you know? So people are looking at me and judging, so I have to be perfect. So I'm taking more time with my music now, but when I started out, I was very like into like how much can I release before I die, you know? How much, you know? Because I've already, before I started releasing as Savant, I probably had like 10,000 songs already written since I was 9 years old. So at that time, I've done all genres you can imagine. Anything from anything to that. I love everything. I wanted to try to do everything. Of course, I've made mostly trance and metal music. I've got like 2,000 metal songs and 3,000 trance songs. It's like too much. So I'm done with those. I'm like, oh, no more. You know? So I want to do new stuff now. But with the Savant thing, it was always about like, I want to be remembered for a dude that did something no one else could do. Because anyone can put out 12 albums in this amount of time I do, but it's about the quality too. It's not just the quantity, it's supposed to be a good song, it's supposed to be a good album. And the journey from beginning to the end, when you listen to it, the albums, there's supposed to be a journey, there's supposed to be a story, there's supposed to be like a movie in your head when you listen to it. Or at least something you feel. You can't just be like, skip that, it's just... like that one. It's not about that. It's like the old school 80s rock albums where it was like an opera. It was like fucking dun, 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 and then and then and it was a journey of styles. It was a journey of tempos. It was a journey of emotions. And like for instance, Metallica album from the 80s, Master of Puppets, or even Justice for All, they have these different songs that have one's slow, one's like boom. One's like, and one's like, so they all have different tempos and genres. Like to me, like they're different vibes. They're different vibes. So, and these kids nowadays, they're just doing one thing, and like, or, you know, everybody's just doing the same thing, and I'm like, oh, this is so boring. So with the albums, I want to make that journey. I want to make go from this to that to this, that, this, that, and blah. And then make many of those. Make a library of those so people go like, that's impossible. That's it. That's basically it. Okay, so before I was into electronic music, I don't know, man. I just listened to whatever people listen to. I was into like pop radio, pop TV, MTV shit, you know, like whatever was cool on. I wasn't judging things by genre or who they were. I was just listening to the fucking music. I wasn't even thinking who they were. I didn't remember them. It was just, oh, that song is cool. I like listening to that, you know? So when I got into the stage where I actually bought my first CD, that was a trance CD. It was in '97. And I listened to that shit over and over, and I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. It was the artist was called Ayla, and the CD was called Nirvana. It was a German DJ Tandu or something like that. Trance album, very melodic, very like a little ambient in there, very world music. Got some tablas in there on the song. It was like a nomad through the desert kind of theme on the album. And after that shit, I was like, oh, trance. And then I got into metal, and then I was like, wow, what's cool here? So I got into Nightwish and Dimmu Borgir and Immortal, and then darker and darker and darker stuff until I ended up in the bottom. Because you always start out with what's commercially accessible, and then you go deeper into the underground, you know? It's like first I listened to Nightwish, which was like opera vocals on like melodic Hans Zimmer style metal music, which is like super accessible. Everyone likes it because it's so melodic and happy. And then at the bottom, I started listening to fucking shit like Mayhem and Gorgoroth and like dark shit, you know. And then I started making my own stuff, and it just, darkest times in my life. And then we moved on from that stuff into hip hop and all that stuff, and I started listening to Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, DJ Premier, all these kind of other people in hip hop. I love them, like old school '90s, Notorious B.I.G., fucking West Coast, East Coast shit, you know, that old fucking gangster rap shit. Wanted to be a hip hop producer for a long time. And then I found Daft Punk with Discovery in 2001, and I was like, I love this and hate this at the same time, because I hate house music. I hate repetitive stuff. I hate shit that's a loop. How long can you do this before you go like, okay, you know? But that music was so catchy, but so repetitive at the same time, so I lost my mind. So that music really fucking changed me. So after that, I was like, fuck, this is so cool, but I hate it. I can't do it. But before that, again, you have the Prodigy with Fat Up the Land, you know, smack my bitch up. Boom. All that kind of stuff, you know, hard, aggressive stuff. Music that made you like, you know? And after that, again, like Justice, all these other people that came out of the French scene, you know, Sebastian Mizrazo, Ed Banger Records, all that shit. And here's the funny thing: when Skrillex came out, because there was a there was a electronic dance music scene before that, but it wasn't as commercial or accessible. But like Deadmau5 was pretty big. You had other people like Tiesto, like ruling the world. You know, all these kind of people. They were already out there making big bucks and touring and all that kind of stuff. But when Skrillex came out, he was like the underground punk rocker that came out, and I was a punk rocker too, you know? So that was really weird that happened on the other side of the planet at the same time as I was doing like dark electronic music myself, you know? Like that French touch style, like Justice kind of, but harder and more my style of stuff, because I wanted like more classical instruments and shit like that. And pop, even 80s music too, like, oh, mixed everything. But after that thing took off and everyone started to make music and everyone was a DJ and everyone could do anything and all that kind of stuff, I guess I really stopped listening to what was happening. I don't think there's anyone out there that I really go like, I would go to a show and watch that shit. No, I wouldn't. Because I feel like everyone's, like, when you don't know what to do, you just copy the people around you. That's how humans work. If you don't know what to do, you're just, what's everyone else doing? Okay, I'll just mimic. Okay, that's normal, I guess. Everyone's just scared. Everyone's scared, so they just pretend to do whatever. So there's no one out there that has the balls to like be crazy enough to like mix everything into one bottle. So I'm really angry at everything right now. That's what I am. So I don't really have anybody right now that I'm really looking towards, like an idol or anything like that. I go like, if you wanna change stuff, you have to let go of all that worshiping, and let inspiration come from. Oh, they went out of stock footage. So you have to let inspiration come from other places too, not just other people. Like inspiration comes from watching or listening to music that isn't in the same scenes. Because I think that if you listen too much to the own stuff you make, you tend to like copy too much, or you tend to like be influenced too much. And also, you get like it. And at this point, if you listen too much to electronic music while you're making it, what happens is that if nobody else innovates, you get stuck too. You get stuck in it because you'd feel like everything, the dance music scene is dead because nobody else is doing it cool. You should change it. Why are you waiting for someone else to change it, you asshole? Everyone's complaining about it. Oh, it's so stagnant and stuck. Well, you can change it anytime you want to. Like everyone, all these big names, they complain all the time about how stagnant the scene is and shit like that, but they don't realize that they have the power to just do this and it's changed, you know? But so I think that when I became like 25 or something like that, I started to like real artists like David Bowie and Prince, Michael Jackson, you know, shit that's real. People that are real, that change stuff, that went like, hey, I'm gonna be different, motherfucker. Try to stop me. That kind of stuff, those kind of people. So that's who I look up to today. And they're not as prominent today. All we have now is Miley Cyrus and what's his name? Justin Bieber and shit like that. That's not a good role model for kids or anything like that. They're not creative. They're just fucking trying to do the Elvis routine with sex, and rock and roll. You know, it's not gonna help the world. So, I'm looking up to these Michael Jacksons and Princes and all these other people because we need a new like that. We need somebody like that to come in again and go like, this is what cool music sounds like, you know, and be on the radio for fuck's sake, like everyone else, like change the world, you know, that kind of stuff. So.
Right here, that's right.
Oh, I wish I could have time for that. But before I started to be really busy with Savant, I did 3D animation. like flash animation and web design, for photography, everything that's artistic and creative, you know? Like I like to sculpt with my hands, I like to make toys, what else? Legos, everything, like all that kind of childish bullshit, you know, you do when you're 8 years old. That's what I like to do when I don't make music. But nowadays, I don't have time for all that stuff, so I play a lot of video games. Because that's like a shortcut to like aesthetics and art and 3D and cool shit. You know? And also you get a lot of aggression because you get to shoot people in the head. I love that.